And we're here.
Boom! It exploded all over her face.
Oh, jeez. Talking about fruit. Welcome everyone to the 10K Rum podcast.
Suck out that soul.
My name is Davis Joseph. I'm joined by my co-host Brooke Potter, who's in the UK. How's it going, Brooke?
It's going well, Amos. It's going well. You and I were getting into a good conversation, so I'm excited for today's show. We are back in quasi-lockdown out here in Wales. It is more fucking bullshit from our, benevolent dictator, the dick-face Drakeford, whatever the fuck his name is, Labour guy. So he's very leftist. Alcohol is no longer for sale in the pubs out here. You cannot buy drinks. Unless, of course, it's with a quote-unquote substantial meal, which basically has sparked a national debate on whether a scotched egg with 17 pints quantifies as a substantial meal. This is the bullshit that we're putting up with out here in the UK. But in other news, some parts of the country is getting snow. I haven't gotten any fucking snow. Where's my fucking snow? I didn't get snow. I would love some snow. What's going on?
Bro, we haven't gotten any snow.
Really? In Minnesota, of all places? I would have thought that was like sorted out.
There's no snow.
Really? I thought y'all would have been tip of the spear, first to get it.
I'm worried it's going to be a brown Christmas, as they say.
Oh, it's wet and muddy and just like full of shit.
No, dry.
Oh, like an autumn kind of brown.
Yeah, I mean,
that would suck.
And with my job, we'll just say that being around, getting around and such, I've seen like people still cutting their yards, their lawns and such.
Really? So all of that hasn't dried up, and
some of it a little bit, but like it has that look like, summer was no less than a month ago or something.
Fair enough.
But we got a lot of at least I drew up a lot of topics that we want to touch on. But first and foremost, I wanted to talk about the election.
Well, before we get to that, don't we have some housekeeping to take care of?
Oh, we do.
We do. And then we will get to the shit show that's the American election. For fuck's sake, it's been keeping me up at night.
We want to thank everyone, of course, for supporting the show. Do check out different ways you can support the show. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, podcasting platforms. Leave a comment, leave a like, share the show with someone you think will enjoy it. But also, check out our Subscribe Star and Tactical Soap. Tactical Soap, use the coupon code 10K Rum, get 10% off, or go to subscribestar.com/shitlord-preachers, where you can pledge a monthly donation to basically support the show, and there's a bunch of perks with that. We got to do a raw take soon.
Yes, we do.
The raw takes is a series where we talk about more lengthier topics or more personal topics that are
bitches and blow,
blackjack.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, do check those out, guys, and we will now, of course, get back to the topic at hand. Oh my gosh!
Just quickly, are we streaming to Twitter? I wasn't sure.
We are.
Okay, cool. Because I will.
It streams to Periscope, which is on my account. So.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to share that out. Yes, the shit show that is the 2020 election that just doesn't want to end.
Right. No, Brooke knows I got a new job, so I've been working like pretty much every day except for today, and I've been trying to keep up with things. So I was looking into, let's see, there was that video that came out 2 days ago. The one that was showing the overnight counting with that very suspicious individual. I saw that.
In Georgia.
Was going around. Yes. Yep. So that was going around, and I was like, okay, shady.
Shady as fuck.
And then, and this we had because we had a little conversation, but we didn't want to take too much away.
Yes.
And then so then, because I talked about the GSA, which is the General Services, the General Service, the
Assembly or something. Yeah,
it's the organization that basically helps with the transition of power. Mm-hmm. And they were given the go ahead to move forward with Biden transitioning, which we talked
about that last week.
Yeah, and I talked about how like that's an important thing. So I'm kind of like, so I'm where I am, and I've told is there like there is fraud, but I
Yes.
don't think there's enough fraud that has overturned everything. That
Right.
has overturned the election, which you don't
I
necessarily
respectfully disagree.
agree. Right. It's fine.
So, I mean, just touching quickly on the video that we both saw, there's another video of that same, well, we assume it's the same woman palming off a USB drive for one of the Dominion machines and like slipping it into this guy's pocket. Did you see that as well?
That one I didn't see. I've heard about, I mean, the Dominion machine thing is tricky too, because like they've had problems not just in this election, but they've had problems in previous elections. That the mainstream, CNN, NBC, and these places all reported on it.
Yeah,
I think even some, like, I think someone said like Rachel Maddow reported on one of them a while ago and was like
John Oliver, one of those late night talk shows. He did a segment a couple months back. Yeah,
and now it's just kind of swept under and not really talked about. Now I don't know if there's continuing to pursue that.
Yes,
but the only ones that I've been really looking into, because I'm seeing a bunch of clips out of context.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that one lawsuit. There was there was that Indian lady that was talking about.
Oh, I didn't actually see that one. That was the hearings in Michigan, I think.
Yeah.
And
people were sending me like, what is this she's talking about? Like, voter ID and Chinese people look alike. And I was like, what? There was some like,
so I didn't see that one, but I heard something.
There was one where there was a judge that ruled election code does not dictate if observers should be within viewing distance as long as they're in the building.
Yeah, which is Georgia.
Observing.
Yeah, that's also bullshit.
And I was like, what?
That's going to the Supreme Court, definitely, because that is complete horseshit. But yes, there's that.
Yeah, so
right. Let me fill you in. There is so much testimony, it is ridiculous. The last one that I watched in its entirety was Nevada. No, sorry. Yeah, Nevada. Was it Nevada? Arizona, sorry. After that, the other one that they did in Georgia was a 5-hour hearing. It's like, no fucking way am I going to take all that. So where things stand presently, the video that you discussed, that we just discussed about the woman seen, pulling a box of ballots out and counting for 2 hours, running between 20 to 24,000 ballots in Georgia. Mm-hmm. That is corroborated by no less at least 4 other eyewitnesses. So there's affidavits that attest to the same thing. Now, of course, this has been attempted to be debunked by a complete shit show of an organization. That their debunking is that it wasn't suitcases. Not that all the other stuff didn't happen, but it's flagged because people said it was suitcases of ballots and not boxes of ballots. That's why it's a fake story. That's
like saying if there is a car accident, we're going to debunk whether both were cars. One of them was an SUV.
Yeah. Complete horseshit at the end of the day. Then anonymous sources high up in the GA said it's all been investigated and they said there's nothing wrong. No names, no nothing. So the debunking is complete horseshit. And in the debunking, they also said that nobody told the people to leave. Lo and behold, the autism of the internet has brought forward a live ABC report from Georgia, where the reporter is there saying we've just been notified that everybody's been told to go home. So the narrative is falling apart.
Okay.
Right. So what has ended up, that is 24,000 ballots, 98% of which goes for Biden. Biden's lead in Georgia is less than 10,000. So that flips the state if those ballots get thrown out.
Right.
Pennsylvania presently is before the Supreme Court. The docket is in, and as somebody rightly said, the Supreme Court does not get involved in things that are not going to be outcome determinant. Meaning, even if there was impropriety, but the result is going to be the same, the Supreme Court they're not going to touch it. Mm-hmm. So the very fact that this has reached the Supreme Court, they look like, this is going to be challenged. There's a battle going on presently between the legislature, which is the House and the Senate in Pennsylvania, versus the Secretary of State and the governor. they're basically saying, look, the evidence is overwhelming. There's a lot of shady shit going on. You need to call an emergency session so we can hash this out before we pick the electors. The governor said, no, fuck you. We're not going to do that. It's already certified. There's nothing to see here. Right. So 76 of these senators have written a letter to the Congress basically saying, fuck our electors. It's in contention. We're not sending anybody. So Pennsylvania, if either through the letter from the legislators or possibly through the Supreme Court, which will probably give it to Trump, Pennsylvania could very well be out of play. Wisconsin is the same thing. Wisconsin, the Trump campaign paid $3 million to do the recount. And everybody was like, oh, the stupid Drumpfers, they found like 187 ballots for Biden. He's got even more votes and whatever. Stupid fucking Trump supporters. Yes, but at the same time, they found 220,000 ballots that have no authorization signatures and no requests for ballots, which would completely flip the state because I think his lead in Wisconsin is 10,000. So that's also going before the courts. Now, Arizona, spicy stuff indeed. This is the local GOP. This is not the Trump team. They have a different lawsuit. The local GOP party has summoned to a judge saying, we would like to do a random sample of 100 ballots just to see if there's any impropriety. And they pulled, I believe, some provisional ballots. And these were supposedly ballots that came in, damaged, and they fixed them and then ran them through the machine. So they pulled 100 of them. Out of them, they found 2 that had basically taken Trump votes from Trump, and one of which given it to Biden.
Right.
And according to election statistics, that's a 3% because it actually affects 3 votes. 2 were taken away from Trump, 1 was given to Biden. The margin of victory for Biden in Arizona is less than 1%. As a result of this, the legislature has gone forward and said, yes, we now have to audit a bigger sample to see how extensive this, impropriety information is coming out.
Right.
So that could very well change that, as well as the fact that in keeping track of all these states, the Voter Integrity Fund project, the VIP. This is the guy who got the voter rolls and started to compare it against the Michigan, death register. Right? He's done it in all 5 contested states. Okay. He did his testimony in Michigan recently. He also did it in Arizona and stuff like that. Do I have the guy's name? Brian something.
I've heard about it, and it's definitely interesting what the type of stuff he's pulling up.
There are 2 of them. There's the VIP, the Voter Integrity Project, and then there's the Armistice. For some reason, I can't find my notes on it, but there's another project as well. And the FBI has requested that they send them all of the information that they found as of Tuesday just gone. So as for the criminal investigation, which is truly what the FBI handles, they're getting the information coming. But a snippet, and I have to admit, this is not verified. The snippet in Georgia, just as one section, I'm not going to go through all of them. So Biden supposedly won Georgia by 12,670 votes. Through the voter integrity, as well as this other project, 2,000 of which are felons, 66,000 were under the age of 18.
Right.
2,000 weren't even registered at all. They just came out of nowhere. 1,000 of them also said that it was P.O. boxes instead of actual residences.
Yeah, the vacant lot thing I've heard about too.
Yeah. Or commercial businesses.
With fake apartment numbers.
Correct. Almost 5,000 were registered past the cutoff date of registry for voting. 10,000 were dead. 395 voted in at least 2 states.
Yeah.
And 15,000 moved or changed country of residence.
I was watching Tim Pool talk about this. He was saying like it's important to realize because he had what's this guy named Destiny or something?
Right, this is the leftist guy. I didn't see that one, but
he had him on. He had him on, and they had. I think there was a lot of disagreement, but I think they worked out a lot of stuff because they were being very clear. And I saw some stuff like because Tim Pool is like, okay, you got to be careful because a lot of people are looking at these voter registries and they're making a lot of claims. And you got like, because he's very much like, there's fraud, there's shady stuff. He's very on that and trying to like, point that out. But he's saying, yeah, you got to be careful because like when people say like, so voter registries, they're pretty shit at updating them sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So when they say, oh, there's dead people in the voter registry, it doesn't mean those dead people necessarily voted. Now, there have been dead people that have voted.
Yes.
That's separate. Or there have been people who have voted, then died.
Yes.
So there's that separation too. And then, or basically, yeah, just people that didn't properly get updated. And, but there's definitely that, that wrestler guy that moved from Michigan to Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, he's training for the Olympics.
And he voted in Tennessee and in Michigan.
I don't know if he voted in both, but yeah, an absentee ballot was requested and sent back. Yeah.
Someone requested a ballot in his name in Michigan. And he heard about this and was like, what?
Yeah. And I think he actually ended up on Fox News or one of those channels and basically said he didn't do it. I've even seen a video, and again, I don't know how true this is. A woman's cat got a ballot because it has one of those tracker IDs, and somebody used the tracker ID number and the cat's name as grounds to get a ballot. And I mean, I don't know how many people are following up on the registry of animals.
That's gotta be pretty
I have no idea. I don't think anybody's looking into that, but that's pretty fucking shady.
I mean with cases like that, I think that has to be like one or two of those things. Like that can't be.
I don't you don't just decide to go and dig into the pet registry to pull out one name. That's if there's one, there's probably more. Like, who's going to do that? Like, who's going to go out of their way to start registering voters and only pull one? That's kind of crazy. I agree. It's rare. It's probably very rare.
Yeah.
But, and it's just the woman's testimony saying, look, my cat received this ballot and whatever. And they use the tracking chip number as the social security.
Right.
So, I mean, that's not a major thing. But anybody who's looking at this, Trump only needs 3 states. Pennsylvania looks like it's going to be a toss-up. They're basically going to fuck up with the electors. Mm-hmm. I think Wisconsin will flip. I think they found enough in Wisconsin to flip the state. And the evidence that's come out in Georgia right now is so condemning that the Rhino Secretary of State, or Diablo, right?
Yeah.
Democrat in all but label only. He's now requesting signature audits in Georgia.
Right.
So there is grounds that this could still flip. I think it's going to a House delegation, but it's very likely that that's going to happen. These people are going to be like, we can't certify these results. We're not sending electors.
Like a week and a half until the electoral college.
Yeah, plenty of time. And here's the trick, and a lot of people don't see it. So Pennsylvania, just as an example, according to I don't know the section of the Constitution which kind of governs the running of the Electoral College, if any of the electors are sent and there is unresolved disputes in the state, mm-hmm. and no effort has been made to rectify the result, those results can be challenged. Now, the kind of cutoff date when all of this stuff is supposed to be done is December 8th. Alito requesting the information out of Pennsylvania regarding the mail-in voting that arrived after 8 p.m. on election day set it for December 9th. So if it is they do not respond before that, and by December 9th they do not respond, they cannot possibly say that they're not in dispute because they have an issue pending before the Supreme Court after the date of which they said where they were supposed to certify.
Yeah, I was hearing there were some cases that were basically not being, now outside of the ones by the Trump team, that were not being heard simply because it's too late.
Right. Those have been kicked up to a higher court as well. That happened in Wisconsin. And again, the Supreme Court doesn't like that kind of thing. They will actually take a case if they feel that the lower court has not been heard out.
Right. Yeah. So let me ask you.
Yes.
Once the Electoral College goes through and they even vote that Biden wins,
yes,
would you then?
Well, I mean, the election is over. I would not by any means call it a legitimate election, but yeah, he would be the president.
Okay.
It's a very interesting question you ask, because that's usually what the leftists are kind of poking people at. Like, are you going to accept the results? So interesting circles you move in there, Amos.
I'm not a leftist, you know that.
yeah, but obviously you're talking to them.
Yeah, I mean, I've been, like I said, I agree that there's fraud going on.
Yes.
I just don't think there is enough convincing, because then I was listening to, like, in that same episode with Tim Pool, like I didn't think of this, but I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course that is. The difference between evidence and proof. There's all this evidence.
Yes.
But there hasn't been any, like, proof to the point, like, okay, we can actually act on this.
There's no such thing as proof in criminal law. There is evidence, and there's a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, meaning it obviously can't be proved. So anybody who's bringing proof into a legal discussion on this it's moot. It's not a real argument.
Right. But so if they can, you think they're going to continue with the lawsuits and the disputes after the Electoral College?
Possibly. And I think they should, because even if Trump is not the winner out of this entire situation, if the integrity of the election, and this is the third time I'm saying this, if people do not feel that the election has been done legitimately,
I know,
and the system isn't working,
yeah,
they're done. The union is done. Right, if voting is just a fraud, it doesn't matter who you vote for. Your vote doesn't matter.
No, I get
so
that.
They hopefully, if the GOP had any cojones at all, which is, I agree, is a stretch, they need to do this. Otherwise, the Senate runoff that's in January in Georgia for the 2 Senate seats, Lin Wood and others have already come out. Lin Wood is one of the attorneys. He's kind of said, "What's the point of voting if they're just going to rig the system and do absolutely nothing?" The Republicans are done.
No, I get what you're saying. My hope is that they can take a lot of what they're finding out with this election into the next one to make sure they can prevent a lot of this.
No. You see that? Yeah, you have been talking to a lot of leftists, because if this election doesn't count, you can't fix it.
No. But I said this before way before we started having these conversations. I said,
yeah. But you're discounting the fact, if they get away with this, that's it. There are no more elections. You have to deal with this.
Right.
Yeah. So if they don't pursue the investigations and they don't uncover all of the fraud and stuff like that, there is no next election. It's done. The experiment is over. Democracy is imploded. So everybody's like, oh, the next one. No. You don't understand the severity. This could be the last election in the United States. Texas might lead the revolt, basically saying Biden is an illegitimate president. We've seen the evidence and we're unconcerned. We're seceding from the union. It could very easily fall into that.
I don't know. I've heard the same thing in the past.
Sure. But I mean, it was never as glaring as this, where the election was basically seen to be fraudulent.
Right.
When was the last time that you saw that the electors were told, the legislators were telling the Congress basically to contest the electors? That hasn't happened since,
I mean,
John Adams, I think.
In terms of like questioning the election on this scale, I don't have enough, elections in my lifetime to really have paid it that much attention.
Sure.
I've heard people that so when I was in Texas, I remember there were a lot of people talking about like seceding from the union.
Mm-hmm.
Like as a serious issue. And I was like, oh, and then it didn't happen. I was like, oh, okay. Like,
I mean, to be fair, Texas has been threatening to secede from the union like every other fucking year, right?
Right.
But now they actually have grounds. If it is that the perception of Biden's election is seen to be fraudulent and he's an illegitimate president, that is the grounds for the Second Amendment. So they would actually be kind of in the right to say this is an illegitimate government. We don't recognize it. We're kicking off. Now, I agree. They do it all. They always threaten secession. And ironically, California did the same thing for this election. If Trump won, they were actually having a secessionist movement to say, if Trump won the election.
Yeah, I remember, but California's been having a secessionist movement kind of on and off for the past couple of years.
Yeah, depending on if it's Republicans that are in leadership.
Yeah, and then there was the whole, the splitting California into multiple states.
Yeah. The state of Jefferson, North California, Central. Texas is possibly the same thing. It could split into 5. Which would probably be better because the north region of California is all farmland. And then you got the south, which is, LA and San Francisco and shit like that. And they have all these ridiculous
Silicon Valley should be its own state pretty much.
Yeah. It's like, why are you imposing all of these environmental regulations on the north of the state, which is practically rural, right?
Texas is very different. All of like Austin and Houston and Dallas are all very different. El Paso's different.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's interesting, but this has to be dealt with. Even if Trump doesn't win the election, if the proceedings don't go forward and expose the clear improprieties that they're seeing, there is no other election. It means the system has failed. And if that's the case, well, then the project is done. The democracy project in the US is done. So yeah, it has to go on. It has to be resolved with this election. And there are too many people, I feel, that are wanting to sweep it under the carpet. Like, let's learn all we can and let's do better. No, they're just, if they get away with this, they're just going to do it again, right? They're going to do it more.
No, you continue. No, I understand. You continue the investigations and the lawsuits to basically expose all this. Because you bring it to the but you bring it to the public to show, like, hey, this is what actually happened. But there's 2 directions. Either you expose it fully. So in both cases, you expose it fully. You open it up. You everyone finds out about, okay, whatever voting systems, people involved, they go down completely and they expose it fully.
Right.
Do you then contest the results? Do you then completely flip the election after the Electoral College, which undermines the whole thing? Or do you just say, okay, we're going to go with this into the next election to say, okay, all these people that we just exposed that everyone knows about right now are just never touching anything, with the election at all?
That is the $1,600 question.
$1,600.
Yeah, the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So that is the $1,600 question. If Biden is sworn in, and then the fraud is uncovered and you realize that Trump was actually robbed of the presidency, what then?
I know that's, I'm not like,
I honestly, I don't know, but if that is the result, so let's say all of the lawsuits don't get done in time, the electoral account, right? Biden is in, the investigation continues, and it's found out that yes, he has been robbed of the presidency, right? I have no idea what the outcome of that would be, and that is a real potential thing. If they don't hit this out now,
I get that.
That would truly be a constitutional crisis.
Yeah. Definitely no. That's never really happened before.
No, I don't think it ever has. I think the best outcome of this is it goes to a House delegation. I think if what's been seen in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada,
you're saying the contingent election.
The contingent election.
Yeah.
So I think all of them in their right mind, there's enough evidence to show that the result should be different. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't want to give them to Trump, that's fine. Abstain. And neither of them get to 270. Right? So Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona abstain. Just basically, and most of them are Republican legislators. They have the control to
And we
send
have had
electors.
we've had a good number of contingent elections.
Yeah, I
Those
think
have
you've done at
happened.
least 2. Yeah, it has happened in the past.
Let's
I
see.
think Adams was one. I don't know who the other one was.
Contingent election.
Yeah, you can look that up. And I think that is the safest result apart from
3 times.
it's been 3 times. Okay. I knew of 2. What were they?
1801. Oh, okay. Jefferson versus Burr.
Right. Jefferson got that.
Let's see, 19. Andrew Jackson lost to John Quincy Adams. Okay.
Quincy Adams, that's the one I knew, yeah.
And then Van Buren.
Van Buren, I don't know that one.
Martin Van Buren's.
Okay.
Oh, okay. In 1936, faithless electors in Virginia refused to vote for Martin Van Buren's vice presidential nominee, Richard Mentor Johnson, denying him a majority of the electoral vote and forcing the Senate to elect him in a contingent election. So a contingent election upon a VP.
Interesting.
Because technically they're supposed to vote. Like now we just put them on the same
ballot. Yeah.
But it used to be they put them separately. So
interesting.
Because you had Jefferson and Adams.
Right.
Were president and VP. I don't know. I forgot the exact order, but
right.
They basically could like vote 2 people from separate parties.
Interesting.
Ticket. So like if we did that today, you would probably have like the possibility could be like a Biden Pence or a Trump Harris presidency.
Right. Interesting. I didn't know that they broke it up. But as I say, it has been done in the past.
Yeah.
I think the amount of allegations and evidence that's come out, I think that's the safest route that this can go. And it seems most likely.
And yeah, I'm seeing that. And I think that would be really interesting because it'll be a good history lesson.
It would be a good history lesson. And it shows that they didn't get away with the steal. They would actually be allowed to continue the investigation and have a peaceful resolution.
So I want this to be clear. Like, because I'm still holding the position that the whole process is playing out. It's just where I see it currently, it doesn't look like Trump could flip it in his favor.
Right.
If they do go down this path of the contingent election, which I really haven't, like, I knew about it. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
But I haven't thought about it. So if they do push to a contingent election and Trump does win in that case, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, but whatever. No, I'm open to that. I'm just just on my, like, we've had the conversations with the GSA moving forward with Biden, with the lawsuits. I personally just haven't kept up enough.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing it going in this direction. So for people who are watching this that are thinking like, oh my gosh, like you're pointing me out as like I'm talking to a bunch of leftists. Well, yeah, I have. And
good.
But because I talk to a lot of people, that.
Yeah. But it's important to don't just parrot leftist talking point. When I hear leftist talking points, it's like, oh, Amos, you didn't really think this through, did you? Yes, like sweeping. Let's learn what we can and move on to the next one. No,
but I didn't say that.
I know, but I'm just saying it's important not just to parrot leftist talking points or any talking points, right-wing talking points either. Talk to everybody you can, but know where you stand. Like, okay, this is what I believe.
Yeah. Because I haven't seen a lot of super convincing stuff. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of evidence.
There is a lot of evidence.
I won't like, dismiss that. But how they work that in the lawsuits and what exactly what's gonna come of that is like, we're getting really close to the time when.
And in fact, there's a school of thought right now from a bunch of scholars and constitutional people. Basically, they're even suggesting that if there's enough evidence, they can postpone the vote on the Electoral College.
Okay. The other thing too is just even a lot of conservative friends. Mm-hmm. Some of them I've talked to them and just like, they're just like, I tend to agree. I mean, on top of my job and hearing about all this, I'm like, oh, this is just exhausting. Like, just
Yeah,
can we
it
just
is.
which is, I mean, we're talking about it a lot longer than I kind of planned for the show because I want to talk
Yeah,
about other things.
yeah, which we'll get
But
to.
I,
Yeah,
yeah, but I wanted to basically like, all right, I get it. We've talked about it. You
yeah.
know, we'll address it because we've been talking about it since before election day.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I agree. Even for me, like when I saw a 5 hour hearing in what was it, Georgia, it's like I'm not watching this. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
people are like when I watched that clip from was it Pennsylvania where they had that expert come on and talk about the whole 2000 to 1, the votes,
yes,
and we were watching that and I was like, oh, let me look that up, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, 3.5 hour hearing, I gotta look through
yeah,
this
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So I'm pretty convinced it's gonna happen. I'm just kind of waiting for the cliff notes at this point. I'm no longer really following it. I'm just looking at the big steps, and there is enough that
Yeah,
could turn it. It's gonna go to the Supreme Court. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what
yeah.
happens.
If we go to contingent election, I think that'd be just fun, really.
I
Like
agree. I think it'd be
it's be like
fantastic.
watching that, be like, oh, like this, CNN, NBC, and all these people have to like come up with new graphics. Like, okay, how are we gonna show this? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not, it hasn't been done in our lifetime. It'll be fascinating to see. But I mean, did you want to discuss some of like Joe Biden? If Joe Biden gets in, some
so
of the
Biden. So I mean, I've been looking. Biden's already appointing like cabinet positions and stuff, and I'm not.
Do you know one of them is actually the guy from Smart Tech who runs the Dominion software?
I did not know that.
Yeah, yes, very very interesting stuff. But anyway, well, that's a
I mean,
different story.
that's I think that's more in line with just politicians getting their cronies in that
Yeah.
for whatever.
Thank you for the job you've done. Getting me in sort of jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs for the boys. Jobs for the boys.
So there are a couple things I know that he's talked about. I know I've been following, like, he's been talking about trying to get a stimulus. So there's the bipartisan stimulus package that Biden is talking about. Like he's telling Congress that they should try to get it passed to Trump. And then January, he wants to get another stimulus package out.
Right.
Nothing about stimulus checks. I think, what was it? Let me actually pull this up here. $908 billion. Let's see. This is funny how let's see here. Basically a breakdown of
Who gets what?
yeah. Okay. Everyone see this? All right, cool.
Yeah. So
geez, all these damn ads. There we go.
what's that ad say? There's a girl nearby that wants to fuck you. What
No,
kind of
that's
sites have you been visiting?
That's the progressive one. Progressive
for our listeners who can't see it, I was just throwing some spice.
Jesus, get demonetized so quick. Here we go. So he's joined. Oh yeah, $908 billion COVID relief efforts. Introduced by the Problem Solvers Caucus. I've heard a little bit about them. Basically, it's half Democrats, half Republicans trying to work out this bill. Mm-hmm. And basically, $288 billion to small businesses, including more for the Payment Protection Program. That's basically where they're paying businesses to keep people on payroll.
Right. Okay.
$108 billion for additional unemployment insurance, basically the unemployment weekly boost, and $160 billion for state, local, and tribal governments, which I don't know exactly what that is.
Right.
So they're just talking about a lot of this. No, there is nothing. Like, remember they talked about the stimulus checks? There's none of that. So
right. How much do you get? Do you get anything?
I in this one probably wouldn't get anything.
Okay.
Unless well, hold on. They have the EIDL. I know I actually got an EIDL grant for the last one because I did that self-employment work.
Right.
They gave me like $1,000 for that. So, hey, look, there's cute girl here. But so they're pushing for this. It's definitely not like the the $3 trillion or $2 trillion plan like they did earlier.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of talk too that Biden has been kind of calling out the House, well, Congress, basically like, hey, like you guys have been fucking around for months and you haven't gotten anything passed. Like the last stimulus bill was
April.
June.
Oh, as late as June. Yeah, that was the last check
Well,
you got.
The April one was the check, and then they did another one,
Right.
and
Okay.
then Trump did the executive order. There was a
And then Nancy Pelosi held it up from there.
Yeah, and then
Didn't
she was
want to
like,
give Trump a win.
didn't want to give him a win, and we'll wait and all this stuff. And now Biden's stepping in like, no, you should, because you guys have been waiting forever.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Apparently he has a good relationship with Mitch McConnell. I didn't know that.
Oh, I mean, those are two dinosaurs that have been there, since prehistoric times.
But
I mean, he's barely there as it is.
McConnell apparently was the only Republican that went to Biden's son's funeral.
Yeah, one of his sons died, I think, of an overdose or something. I don't know the details, but
might make two of them.
It's possible. It's possible.
So yeah, there's that. I know they asked him about the vaccine and the his direction with COVID.
Yeah.
He wants to continue with trying to keep the economy open. He's not gonna, from what I've heard, he's not trying to push for well, he can't do a lockdown. So what?
No, I mean, I've heard he did say he wanted to lock down, and then he kind of retracted.
Yeah,
and then he pushed for a mask mandate, and then he retracted.
Right. So I'm going with what he last said. So because they asked him if he wanted to do a mandate, he goes, no. He goes, but I want to show people that kind of strongly recommend. Basically, it's kind of from what I'm getting from it. He wants to do a 100-day mask recommendation, I guess.
Right.
Like in his first 100 days, he wants everyone to wear masks and stuff. He wants people. He doesn't want to make the vaccine mandatory. There was that whole $1,500 for a vaccine thing that's been going around. I haven't heard too much about that. That didn't come, but that, from what I heard, that hasn't come from him.
Right.
His administration. It's just been kind of thrown around as an idea.
As an incentive, yeah.
Yeah, because it's hey, you get money and you get this vaccine. So it's kind of stimulus for vaccine. And just so everyone knows, I would just remind everyone I'm in the trial, and I mean, I'm taking a smaller company compared to I'm not taking the Pfizer or the Johnson & Johnson one.
Right.
But I am taking one, and for all I know, maybe it's just a placebo that they gave me. But I've been feeling fine.
Good.
But then again, I'm supposed to get a booster shot, so who's to say what that's going to be like?
Yeah, it's usually 2 shots for this type of thing.
Yeah. So he wants to do the mask mandate. He wants to make vaccines voluntary. But there's already previous presidents that are lining up to show as a show of confidence they're going to take the vaccine.
Yeah, Bush, Obama. I don't know if Clinton's in that.
I saw some people joking about the conspiracy. He's like, oh, of course they'll take the ones without the microchip.
Or they'll take the ones that make you sterile because they've already had kids.
Right.
If
Sterility by vaccine, have they done that with flu vaccines? I mean, with other vaccines,
yeah,
I've heard about that.
Yeah. And because the mRNA vaccine fucks with your DNA, so that's how they trigger the immune response. So it can potentially. I mean, we don't know. And of course, all of these companies are free from any kind of litigation. So anything that goes wrong, you can't sue them for what they've done. I don't know, man. I think my immune system is pretty good. I'm not taking a fucking vaccine.
Right. But if the with the vaccine giving you that, so if getting a vaccine means you can move more freely around the UK or even coming across the world.
No, absolutely not.
You wouldn't take it. Okay, no,
I wouldn't take it. Because they're trying that out here. They're basically saying, like, one company came out and said, you're not going to be able to fly with our airline. I think it was Virgin or one of these fucking globalists. Said you can't fly unless you get the vaccine and you get the passport and stuff. Then the cheap discount airlines is like, well, fuck that. You could come on our plane, no problem. that's more business for us.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, because COVID has become such a part of our life that I'm kind of like, what are you like?
I don't know. It's not part of our life. It's part of our dialogue, but it's not really affecting us that drastically.
It's affecting things around us pretty drastically, I'd say.
Yeah, our lifestyle, but it's the reaction to the virus, not the virus itself. It's all the government intervention. It's totally.
No, I get that. No, I get that.
But I mean, COVID is not that big a thing.
Would there be any vaccine that you would take with COVID?
With COVID, no.
Even if they properly did it.
I don't need a vaccine. I mean, give it to the elderly, give it to the seniors. Right. Yeah, it's a 99% whatever percent survival rate. I'll take my chances. I don't have any pre-existing conditions.
No, I was because that's the thing. Like, I mean, for me, I just
money. Money. Fucking sell out.
And I mean,
where the kids are born with 3 hands. Like, Daddy, what happened?
2020.
Yeah,
2020 is still haunting me.
Let me tell you about 2020. I completely respect your capitalist, motives and stuff like that. Hey, man, get while the getting's good, bro. Absolutely. For me, not so much. I don't think I need it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, there are a couple other things that Biden wants to do that I don't know. I mean, he wants to give 11 million illegals citizenship. There goes all of your lower paying jobs. It's possible they might want to. Yeah, he wants to give amnesty to like over 11 million illegals in the U.S.
That just means they would pay taxes then.
Yes, but it also means now they're coming for your jobs. Like, they could only do picking and other things, kind of cash jobs before.
Yeah.
So when all of this workforce is now entitled to minimum wage laws, it's there's not enough work to really go around.
Especially now with so many people who've lost their jobs already.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not exactly a great move. I mean, I was surprised they even passed in the Senate. The Republicans passed this too, which is the H-1B reform for the tech oligarchs, basically allowing almost unlimited importation of foreign workers to work in tech. So, like, fuck the Americans. We're going to bring them all in, all the programmers in from India and China and all that good stuff. Again, it's not a, and as I say, I fully accept the Republicans passed this too. This is not great. But yeah, if they get the Senate, then your Supreme Court is in danger because they can pack the Supreme Court. Your Second Amendment will be in danger, because more restrictions would come in. And they might try to, bring Puerto Rico and DC, Washington, DC as states to again kind of, tip the Senate in their favor, bringing on 2 very Democrat-run constituencies. It could get pretty fucked up. Puerto Rico is a territory. So if they get statehood, they add 2 more seats to the Senate.
You got a lot of people that go to Puerto Rico to avoid paying taxes too. So you got a lot of rich.
Yeah, I know, because it's a territory, not a state.
No, I know. I'm just wondering. I'm just thinking about that. Like how.
So there's some. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying, and this could completely be fear mongering by the right. But they have discussed doing these things before. Even who's the Senate minority leader, the Democratic one, Schumer. He has flat out said that if they get control of the Senate, everything is on the table. And that was asked in relation to packing the court as well as making statehood for Puerto Rico and DC.
Yeah. Schumer just looks like a devious little...
Yeah, he looks like a real conniving fuck, doesn't he? Yeah, he's a conniving cunt.
him and Pelosi.
Oh my God, Pelosi's falling apart, man. But yeah, it could get spicy. It could get spicy.
Yeah. Okay. So, well,
all you care. I know the big thing with me is like, when am I getting paid? Where's my stimulus check, man? I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, that's great. But what about all this other shit that's coming with it?
the whole country's burning. Where's my stimulus check?
Where's my stimulus check, man? I got to look out for number one. Amos first, America second.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a libertarian just for that reason. That's what everyone thinks libertarians are. We're just completely selfish capitalists.
I'm with, bro. To a very large extent, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Because if shit really hits the fan in the UK, and there was a way you could come here, you'd probably come. Well.
Oh yeah. Exactly. If you found me a nice American girl, I'd probably jump ship, and I'd go to Texas and get ready for the revolution. Yeah, absolutely, hands down.
Yeah, Texas is definitely a good state.
Yes.
On lighter, I guess, I don't know, lighter topics. Because there's other things going on too.
There's a lot going on. Are we getting into the gender bender?
Gender bender. So, Elliot Page, formerly known as formerly known as Ellen Page,
yes,
for most of their life.
Well, all of her life save like 4 days.
And has announced that transgender. Hasn't gone through, like, I was talking about this with some people, like, the whole thing is like, compared to the whole Caitlyn Jenner thing.
Right.
Like, Caitlyn Jenner basically, like, kind of talked a little bit about, I've always felt like a woman and all this, felt feminine and stuff. Like, I think Family Guy made jokes about her and all this stuff. And it kind of just disappeared, and then one day, like, made this whole reveal, I'm Caitlyn, that whole thing.
Yes.
Of course, the whole media and all the conversations.
South Park.
Oh, yeah. And we had all that. But that, I think was like, she went for it. Fucking,
yeah.
I
did the
surgery,
yeah,
the whole thing. And here comes Ellen turned Elliot, and just basically, from what I saw, just kind of tucked in the hair, threw on a hat, a cap.
Yeah.
And just said, I'm Elliot now.
Yeah.
And I saw the statement that was made on the news. Like, I've always, I want people to know in the trans community, like, I'm with you. I know what you're going, kind of like trying to like show some solidarity. And I was like, what? Who are you? I mean,
yes.
I'm like offended on behalf of trans people. Like, some person just came out of nowhere and just like, hey, I'm one of you now. It's like that meme with Steve Buscemi. How are you doing, fellow kids? Like, it's just like, how are you doing, fellow trans people? I'm cool with you. I totally I know the struggle, and I'm like, what? And then Netflix comes out like, we're gonna change all the casting. All the credits are all gonna be changed to Elliot Page. I'm like, okay. And then I even typed in Elliot Page. No, I typed in Ellen Page.
Yeah.
On Google, and went to Wikipedia. Said Elliot Page, and he's always had this, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, did we just like I'm looking at this, I'm like, fine, Caitlyn Jenner, like we look at Caitlyn Jenner and we're like, we call her she, we say that we talk about her, right?
Yes.
We kind of, she went through the whole thing and the surgery and all this stuff, and we're like, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to think about it, but it's like, we'll say that. We'll even say Blair White, she.
Yes.
But I'm just looking at this and just the back, the gymnastics, the whole everything, and I'm like, this is a publicity stunt.
I think maybe it's a little too soon, because maybe she might actually.
I mean, this seems almost in the same.
I just misgendered her. He might actually do surgery.
Right.
Right. Maybe you actually start taking some hormones, but it's too soon to say, right? It's too soon to say any of that.
Like, if you want to, I'm thinking, like, if you want to do it right, do it right.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, obviously it's a process. I get that, not everybody's going to, I don't know, strap a dick on
and now,
immediately.
yeah, but then now they're saying, okay, you know, Elliot Page is going to go into the Umbrella Academy, still playing a woman, and I'm like,
Right.
and I was like, well, I mean, according to SJWs and their views and like how like culture and movies should be done, wouldn't that be like almost some sort of like mansplaining acting thing, like playing, you know, you're a man playing a woman, you think you're better at being a woman than a woman, you know. And then I'm looking at, and then people are also joking about like the whole thing where when she was Elliot, when she was Ellen Page, she would say, you know, I hate straight white men or something,
Yes.
and then became a straight white man.
I was about to pull up was it Tatiana, you know,
McGrath.
you know, yeah, the parody account. So like in one breath, it's like, oh, congratulations, you know, to Elliot Page, yay. But now he's a straight white male, so fuck him, he has no rights. Because she was a lesbian before, now she's a man, now she's a straight white man. You know, you've come to the bottom of the oppression Olympics. You've lost.
I mean, I've got a lot of people making jokes like, so if I jerk off to Ellen Page, am I gay now? Just real, like, I mean, I even saw Elliot Page's height, 5'1".
Yeah.
We were like fucking manlet.
Yeah.
Now for me, I'm kind of like, yeah, you do you be happy doing what you want.
Absolutely.
But
you go and strap on as many dicks as you want, girl, guy, whatever. You know, you do you.
No, I like, that's, you know, live and let live. But it just looks so like, just okay, everyone can do what they want. That, you know, they don't have to go through this whole process. But when
I'm sure the stream is going to be killed at any second.
When a Hollywood, you know, essentially not Hollywood elite, when a Hollywood actor, actress, whoever,
yeah,
when they do things like this, I kind of go, I can't take it seriously.
I'm kind of with you.
It's not, and it's like, because it's very different. Like I'm not saying I don't take like transgender people seriously. I'm saying is when a Hollywood celebrity does it,
yes,
it's just like, you know, because even with like, because I'm thinking, you know, I mean, like I said, with Caitlyn Jenner, went full on with it, and I'm kind of like, hey, you know, good for you, you know, doing the whole thing. It kind of
around those titties.
I'm looking at that and I'm kind of like, hey, you know, you do you. But when they just kind of like, it kind of seems reminiscent of Kevin Spacey.
Yes, when he came out as gay.
I am a gay man, so it's all good.
Yeah, after he was like accused of some pedophilia nonsense.
Now, granted, yeah, that was a very different. There's certain situations that are making it different, but it just seems kind of like, I'm going to throw out this thing for the publicity.
I think so. If you're going to do it in that kind of scenario and not kind of...
I'm going to go in the news, I'm going to dress up, the whole thing. It's like, I mean, at the very least, if you feel you need to get that out there, do like an Instagram thing or something.
Yeah, you know, just do it to your fans and whatever. But I think you're right. There's a lot of, trans grifting or trans trending that's taking place.
Yeah, because the population has like doubled or tripled for the trans population. People who identify as trans has doubled and tripled in the last year, which, you know, it's like, okay, what does that mean? Is it just because like, even if it was more people like coming into their identity, it's like there seems to be a lot more like the trending, the grifting,
Correct.
rather than genuine like people trying to, you know, reconcile with their dysphoria. And it's like I said, still do what you want. There's people that live very awesome lives. They're going full on with the transition. Their families, the people around them. Yeah, there's struggles, but they still do it.
Yes.
But again, when a Hollywood celebrity does it, I'm just like,
yeah,
what? Like,
did you see the Babylon Bee article about this whole thing with Elliot Page? Where Elliot Page retroactively awarded 17 Oscar and Academy Awards for amazingly convincing portrayal of women.
Oh yes, I did see that.
That's so
And
funny.
that's yeah, it's just like,
I mean, do you know any trans people? Do you actually know any?
so having connections in the Libertarian Party, I've met a few.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, it's the and I told you when I was at the election night party, and I don't know if I talked about this on the show. So I was on the election night party for the Jorgensen campaign. I got to meet with someone who worked for the campaign who was part of the outright caucus, not alt-right, outright.
Right.
The outright caucus of the Libertarian Party is basically they represent the sort of what, so mainstream would say LGBT.
Right.
They say they came up with a term which I think makes way more sense, called GSM,
Right. What's GSM?
gender sexual minorities.
Ah, okay.
It encompasses all the groups. You don't have to have your super long acronym to virtue.
You don't need to be called alphabet people.
Right. It's just GSM. It's simple. It's to the point. And I was kind of like, hey, like this is like this. And when I talked to this person who's there, like I met one of them, talked to them, kind of getting an idea of like where they stand on things. And this was actually like the live and let live attitude of libertarianism when applied to the LGBT movement.
Right.
And I was like, this is actually makes sense, because it's like, hey, we just want to be like treated like people.
Yeah.
We just want to live our lives. We're not sitting here demanding any special privileges. We're not trying to force society to abide by whatever thing. We're not shoving it down your throat. We just want to be treated as is.
Yeah.
So they'll actually look at, and so this person was telling me like California and New York have some of the worst laws towards GSM people.
Really?
Because and it's because of the movement, like has pushed in one direction, has actually in reverse done more harm than good. Right. Surprise, surprise, progressivism isn't as progressive as it claims to be.
There's always a trade-off. Yeah.
And they were telling me like, hey, they stood with the gay wedding cake guy and all this stuff, understanding like we're not going to force people, like, while we may not agree with their decision to deny a service, we're not going to take that freedom away from them.
Correct. Good.
But if someone but they said, on the other hand, if we do find out like someone who we know in the community who has been fired for unjust reasons because someone is, doesn't like their gender or sexual identity, yeah, we'll call them out. We're not going to sue them. We're not going to do all this other stuff. We're not going to but we're going to make sure like people know like, hey, these people are just maybe not as open-minded on hiring these people based on their merits. And I'm like,
cancel culture. Yeah, basically.
I mean, understand.
That's what it is.
But I think, I prefer that to using laws and such.
Oh, I agree. I'm not saying it's better, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Rather than having it dictated from.
I've looked at their stuff, and I'm not. They're not out there going like, cancel these people, cancel those people. They're just like, hey, these.
Yeah, but what do they say? Do they say like this person is transphobic, or why are they calling out people at all? Kind of. That's very strange. If it's live and let live.
If someone like fires you for a shitty reason that is outside of what is typical for fire, like, sure. You're gay and I want to fire you. It's like, okay, did I do a bad job? Did I break any rules? No, right. I want to fire you.
I think there's laws for that already, but okay. But why would they involve calling them out?
Maybe I didn't. I'll say this.
Okay. It does seem to be a sticking point. No.
I probably misheard on that point.
Okay.
It was a very quick point that we kind of hit and left.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Maybe you heard it wrong. It doesn't sound very libertarian if they're calling out.
No. Actually.
Maybe we could get one of these people on the show and we could have a great discussion, Was she hot or was he very manly? What were you talking to?
let's see. This person was here we go. Outright libertarians.
Hmm.
This person was actually non-binary.
Okay, that's not really a sexuality, but okay.
No, it's a gender identity.
Right. Okay, that's not
Right,
really an
right.
LGBT, alphabet people thing.
Yeah, it is. If you no, okay, non-binary is part of the whole thing.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I might not be familiar with it, but I mean, it's just when I was having the conversation and the person was like open enough to talk, it wasn't like this whole, you need to call me by this, and it wasn't just
Right. Right.
your mainstream like shoving down your throat.
I thought we were talking about trans people. I kind of started the
Oh,
conversation
sorry.
asking about.
Yeah.
So this person was not trans that you're talking about.
I guess they are technically. It's just
Okay.
they don't have a specific male or female gender identity. Basically, is what it is.
So they're trans neutral. Is that what you're kind of implying?
Non-binary is the word, I guess.
Was it hot? Did it have tits?
No. I was not attracted to this person.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
But it's just like I said, I had the conversation and it seemed very genuine and upfront and sort of, more libertarian and more realistic, that rather than like this whole, Elliot Page thing.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had the days when it was all about, let's just treat us like human beings instead of, same-sex indoctrination in schools. And, if you misgender somebody, you're going to prison. And, remember the good old days when it was all about liberty and freedom? We've lost all that now. I mean, in the UK, if you misgender somebody, they send you to the gulag now. We've lost so much freedom, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I even saw on TikTok someone was like laying out the timeline of when it was Ellen Page,
Yeah.
and then kind of led it up to when when he started identifying as Elliot Page, and
Right.
people were like dropping it all over the comments. Hey, don't dead name them. Hey, what are you doing? You're misgendering. And it's like, no. I'm giving a historical like layout of this person,
Right.
just talking about it. And this is kind of the problem is you
can't even do that.
Yeah, it's like no, they were this person. They always were this person. There's no questions anymore. And it's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, if I change my name, which I might consider doing at some point,
Really?
Yeah. I think once my mom passes, I might change my name. But yeah, it doesn't mean that I always had that name. And this kind of, progressive wanting to deny reality and history and stuff like that, it's a common thread. And
It's interesting how they'll so quickly to like deny an entire person's history because they changed gender or changed name or something or changed certain identities. But white people will always keep the identity of slavery.
about slave owners or
Slave
perpetrators.
owners,
Yeah.
racists, KKK,
And
the whole thing.
Ironically, in that same ideology, black people will always be slaves. They will always be victims of slavery. In that same ideology.
Yeah, they're never like because there's constantly the struggle.
Yeah. So
There's
their denial of history and the denial of change is what makes them anti-progressive.
Yeah,
There's no basis for it in reality. So that's the crux of all progressivism, is the destruction of the foundations that basically make us a civilization. So
right.
it's pretty wild. Would you like to hear some good news about Brexit?
Yes.
Let me
At least
just,
you guys have some good news.
we have some, well, I think it's fantastic news. I don't know if it's going to play out that way. Now, for those who don't know, the UK is, of course, we had a referendum 2016, which is 4 fucking years ago, to leave the EU, which is the
What?
European
No,
Union.
I haven't heard about this at all. When did this happen?
Now, since the introduction of the EU, we've had something called, I think, the Common Fisheries, which basically allowed France and the Netherlands and other countries to come into UK waters and fish pretty aggressively.
Right.
This policy led to basically the decimation of the UK fishing industry. Now, we've had the referendum, part of the negotiations. You know, the UK is basically saying we are taking back control of our waters. We will grant you a license to come and fish in our waters, but we are controlling 100% of our waters and 100% of the fish in our waters. If you want access to it, you need to petition us. The EU and their position is basically, no, we are allowing you to pretend to be independent, and we will give you a little bit more of the quota of fish that we normally get. We'll give you a little bit more, which will be worth about, 115 million euros or whatever. But we will continue to keep the lion's share of the fish that we fish in your waters. Now, needless to say, this is completely preposterous, right? The whole point of Brexit was that we take back control of our laws, our sovereignty, and all these other good things. So it came down to the wire. Michel Barnier and the chief negotiator have been hashing it out when clearly there's no agreement. We're not going to agree to this entire, giving the EU fisheries 100% access to our water and letting them dictate to us what we can get. So it appears finally after 4 fucking years, we have no agreement with the EU. 4 years to basically say, well, we all knew from the beginning, we were never going to agree. That's it. We're going to go with a no-deal Brexit, or what's called a WTO, World Trade Organization Brexit. And basically it'd be like, fuck you.
More like a WTF Brexit.
Yeah, well, I mean, and for us, it's the best possible outcome for the UK. Now, of course, there's going to be shakeups, but we will revive the fishing industry, which has been decimated. Our farmers are going to take a hit because now we can import food from places like New Zealand and Australia and Argentinian beef and stuff, which is a lot cheaper than buying the food from Europe. And we could finally slap a 20% tariff on the fucking Germans and basically say none of your cars are for sale here. Take it up the ass. So it's great. It's fantastic. We could finally be free of this fucking albatross that's been strung around our neck for the last, 40 years. So that's good news. That's good news. If we finally move to a no-deal Brexit, we can just act as an independent country, and the EU can come crawling back to us if they want access to our waters or whatever else. So it's good news. Only took 4 years. How great is that? Politics, everyone. Politics.
Next year,
which is just around the corner.
Yeah, Warner Brothers wants to put all their movies on streaming.
Yeah. On HBO Max.
Yeah, so they don't want to release. They'll release it in the theater if they can, but it'll also be released on streaming.
It'll be simultaneous.
Yeah.
In the US only, though. I don't think they're not doing it for us outside the US.
Get your VPN.
Yeah. Shh.
VPN. No, that practice with VPNs is totally
That would be illegal. To say that I'm in the US and watching US content when I'm not, that would be illegal.
I hear you say that, but I see all these big YouTubers advertising VPNs. Just totally do that.
For security. No,
they've straight up said I will use my VPN to switch my location so I can watch other shows.
Yeah, I don't think many people in the UK are saying that, but no, I totally get that. This is a huge move, whether we know it or not. This is basically going to be a huge hit to the cinema industry.
Right.
So it's going to be a massive downsizing because Warner Brothers, of course, is all of the DC stuff. They've got a massive library. So Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, and all these other movies that have been coming out. Of course, their back catalog is phenomenal as well. So this is pretty huge, but it means that you're cutting out the cinemas. The cinemas are no longer going to have those big blockbusters and other things, which means more downsizing, more unemployment. And the cinemas are basically going to become a luxury experience. It's not going to be like, everybody file in to see Wonder Woman or Avengers. That audience is going to shrink tremendously. And especially with the young people, maybe Amos is in that demographic. I don't know. Once upon a time, looking at, let's see, where's my phone? This is my phone here. If watching a movie on a screen that is basically about, I don't know, 5.5 inches across, once upon a time was unthinkable. Like, who would want to watch a movie like that? But young people today, they're perfectly fine to sit in their bed and watch a movie on a 5.5 inch screen right above them. They don't need the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best habit, but yeah, if I'm like sitting here and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna start going to bed, I'll go lay down and watch videos on my phone, like laying in bed, and I'm sitting here realizing like I could like, and then and I've noticed this too. If I want to like, sometimes if I want to watch a movie or something, I'll just like get it and watch it on my phone. I'm like,
yeah,
why is this like this is?
It's so normal.
It's so normal. Yeah. Like big screen TVs aren't quite as popular anymore.
Which is probably why they're so cheap now.
Like, unless you're like a console gamer.
Correct. Unless you're a gamer or some other kind of entertainment something, sure.
Because I've talked to you about like, if I wanted to get like a PC to game with, and I'm like, yeah, but even then, like the monitor doesn't like have to be that big.
No.
You're not seeing someone PC gaming on a freaking 50-inch LED whatever screen, or well, not usually at least.
No, I completely agree. Like, even for myself, I don't have a TV. Mm-hmm. The screen that I have, let's try and get my hand in there. So the screen that I have over here, it's 27 inches across and it's curved. It's beautiful, very sexy. But I mean, when I'm sitting here and I want to watch a movie or something and it's right there, this is like a big screen TV for me. I don't need a TV. And you're exactly right.
You remember when remember growing up, they always told you don't sit too close to the TV?
Yes.
And look where
the different technology. Back then, it was actually like, the tube systems. These are a little bit safer, although I still have my, blue light blocking glasses.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, nowadays, like, you could be within a couple feet of the TV and you're just fine. Like, I mean, with computer monitors,
because the technology is different. Right, yeah. I mean, I was considering getting a TV. I recently got a nice payment in from some of my investments, so I'm good for at least another 6 months. Should get another payment after that. And I thought, maybe spend a little 200 pounds and something, get something, TV I could mount up. And I'm kind of like, what the fuck for? I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. License. That's another 180 pounds. Like, fuck it. Why do I watch Netflix occasionally. I think I told you I'm on season 3 of The Crown, or maybe season 4. Oh no, actually on season 4, and it's just getting worse and worse.
Not worth it.
I mean, Americans probably wouldn't be familiar with it, but you can see the partisanship of The Crown coming in. The writers are obviously very liberal, very left. They're demonizing Margaret Thatcher. They're kind of demonizing Princess Diana. Yeah, they're really, it's starting to get ugly. And in fact, there was so much outrage in the UK that the Margaret Thatcher community, like whatever her trust is, whatever, insists that people know that this is a fictional show. This is not historical. It might be loosely historically related.
Historical fiction, basically.
Yeah, it is a work of fiction because they're painting Thatcher in a terrible light. Like all the leftists are, great, lovely people, and all of the right people, all the conservatives are fucking demons and idiots and incompetent. It's becoming more and more clear by about season 3 and 4.
I don't know. Season 1 so far when I watched it is
brilliant.
Like,
yeah, it is. It's very, very good. Even season 2, it was a little painful to get through, but it was good. They changed the actor in season 3, and I wondered if they changed the writers as well. It's just taken this very communist turn, and it's not as much fun.
But man, what else? Man, we got through all the topics. What the hell, man?
I mean, have you been keeping up with The Mandalorian?
Have you?
Yes.
So you're all caught up.
Yes.
Okay. Spoiler
Thanks to my VPN.
Arg. Spoiler alert, everyone. So what do you think about little baby Yoda's name?
Grogu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty shit. You know, I was like, really?
Apparently, the name had been already like written out back in season 1. Like they already determined they
Right.
were going to call him that. It wasn't like just a random writer thing.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not very cute. You know, I mean, the Baby Yoda is kind of cutesy. You know, you got
Yeah.
Yoda, you got
It's weird 'cause
Yaddle.
so he's 50 years old. That kid.
No, he's older. He's like almost 100.
I thought he was like 50 something.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I know he's supposed to be a lot older than he appears, but yeah, I can't remember how
They
old
said
he is.
like he had basically trained with many masters at the temple.
Yeah.
Someone rescued him. People, so there's like theories who rescued him.
Yes.
They said, what if it was the librarian woman at the Jedi Temple?
Right.
Someone said maybe it was Anakin.
Yeah, I saw that theory as well.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And I'm just sitting here looking at this, and they're actually saying like it's possible that the show
Mm-hmm.
is going to just ignore the sequels.
Yes. Which would be probably wise because nobody fucking likes the sequels.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this and I'm like, you know, how, like, because I'm still like in my head, I'm thinking, so how are they going to tie this into sequels? Not that I want them to do that, but I'm kind of like, how is that? No, not really, you know. And
no, I don't think so.
what'd you think of Ahsoka Tano?
No, I never really watched the Clone Wars. I watched one season of the Clone Wars. So I knew who she was, but I'm not a big Star Wars person. It's too messed up.
What'd you think of the character?
No, she was very well done, and she's played by Rosario Dawson, who's a woman I absolutely adore. I think she's really smoking hot. I thought she did a very good job with it, and of course, a lot of the Star Wars. What's the term? I know Trekkie is like a Star Trek fan. What is a Star Wars fan called? A Warzer? I don't fucking know. Anyway, I know they were complaining about her mandibles from her head, whatever the fucking.
Oh, they're not as long.
They're not as long as like obviously in the cartoon series.
I think just it's practical to not have them because like they apparently went all the way down to like halfway down her torso.
Yeah, I think it went about to her belt at one point. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the cartoon.
So I found out what those technically are. Like, I guess her species uses they're not really hair. Like they're almost like antenna that connect to the Force or something.
Yeah. I mean, and there are different types. There are some that have 2, there's some 3, 4, and whatever. But for what it was and for the role that she played, I thought it was really well done. I also Boba Fett finally made his return. I thought that was pretty cool.
Star Wars fans. They don't have a name.
Oh, how fucking lame is that? You know, it's like Gators.
You saw the last episode though, right? Where they made it to the temple.
Yes,
that was really interesting. Wondering because people were wondering maybe if Grogu would reach out and contact Luke Skywalker or something.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Mace Windu is another theory. So that's Samuel L. Jackson's character from the prequels.
Yeah. Somehow he survived.
Yeah, somehow he survived. How did he die?
Anakin,
the Emperor.
So when he was going to arrest the Emperor,
right?
He was about to attack him, and Anakin's like, "No, he has to stand trial. We can't kill him."
Yeah. I remember that.
So then Anakin cuts his arm off,
and then he falls out the window or something,
and then he throws him out the window with the Force.
Right. So somebody suggested that might be a possible.
What is it with Star Wars and cutting people's hands and arms off?
Seems very common for some reason.
It's always the dominant hand too, or something. It's
just
something random, just cut your arm off. What?
But I mean, what did you think of the what do you think of the season 2 so far?
I like it.
Yeah, I would say it's
Favreau is doing a really good job.
He's basically holding the Star Wars universe together with his TV series.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Um, just but they're making a lot of tie-ins to the other shows. Like when Ahsoka Tano said, "Where's Admiral Thrawn?"
Right. The blue guy.
Yeah, he's apparently from Clone Wars. No, he's from Rebels.
Right, one of them.
Yeah. And so they're making all these references. They're trying to. There's also like, where did the black saber come from?
Right.
People were getting mad. Like, why did they keep saying? Like, Ahsoka Tano never says if they're lightsabers.
Right.
You just hear the Mandalorian say laser swords.
Laser swords, yeah.
And someone kept saying like, "Oh, maybe that's a reference to Anakin, because Anakin, when he was a kid, he called them laser swords."
Laser swords.
I'm like, oh my gosh, people freaking
out. Nerdgasm.
yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, laser swords. Ooh. So now they kidnap Grogu. So what's going to happen then?
I figure whoever Jedi might come and rescue him. I think that might happen.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with the temple and how he like the Force like enveloped him and such.
Yeah,
it's kind of going into the realm where the Force is getting like, because if you look into the expanded universe, the Force is like the abilities people have in the Force are ridiculous.
Yes.
So when you look into sequels, apart from the shitty story writing, a lot of the abilities they have are very real.
Yeah.
Like those weren't just like, plot devices to just make things convenient. Like there are a lot of those things that actually made sense.
Yes.
It's just, but now there's Grogu being enveloped in some force field thing. He's a child, but he's extremely adept at the Force, moving shit around. I don't know. It's interesting to see where they're taking it. That's for sure.
I mean, I'm curious. I mean, it is the whole. It's how do I say this? It's a man and his dog epic, right? This is Grogu's kind of the pet, right? So I'm a little concerned that the series may not work if they get rid of Grogu, right? If the baby Yoda is kind of taken out of the equation, so he finally meets the Jedi and he goes off to train and it's just the Mandalorian by himself, I don't think the show is going to have as much charm and as much interest.
Yeah, there have been people that have suggested like he's going to be, Grogu is going to have to be some sort of unique character moving forward. Yeah. Is he going to be, because the Mandalorians and the Jedi have a very ancient, like, and connected past.
Yes.
So they're wondering, like, if they're, would he become a Mandalorian? Would he become a Jedi? Would he become some sort of cross between the two? Because there have been Mandalorians that have used lightsabers, and there have been Jedi that were horrible with lightsabers. There's different things.
Right, yeah.
Done. And it's like, and he can only get so big.
Yeah, if he grows, he's no longer the baby Yoda. It's not going to have the same appeal. So
he's just going to be like a youthful Yoda.
Yeah. Exactly. It is a good show. I quite enjoyed it. As I say, I haven't watched Rebels. I haven't watched any of the Clone Wars. I think I may have watched like the first season when it first came out. I still haven't seen the last of the Star Wars franchise, Episode 9. And yeah, you can't fucking pay me to watch that. So, but yeah. I mean, it is something because we don't have anything else. I was thought by this time we should have The Witcher Season 2 should have been out. I thought I'd be looking at that in this December. That's now been pushed off to 2021.
There's the House of Dragons.
I don't know what the House of Dragons is.
The Game of Thrones prequel series.
Not interested. Yeah. I didn't even watch. I think where did I stop in Game of Thrones season 6?
But you said you want. Oh yeah, I mean it dropped off big time at the end.
I do not need that kind of disappointment in my life. It's kind of like Lost. I don't know if you ever watched Lost. With the people who plane crashed and stuff.
I could make a joke about this, but no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. You should have made the joke, man. Come on, it's a comedy podcast.
No, it's just have you seen Lost? No, it's lost on me. Okay.
But if you ever did decide to watch Lost, the first season and the second season are decent, and then it just gets fucking weird, and then it just goes off the rails. And again, same thing. I made it to about season 4 or 5 in Lost, and it's like, this is just.
How many seasons did it go?
I think it went 6. I think it went 6.
So they're on an island trying to survive, but then there's all this weird shit happening.
Yeah, there's a lot of paranormal, supernatural kind of weird thing. And in the beginning, it's a mystery, and then they try to explain it, and they explain it really shittily.
And then at the end, like people, there's all these theories of what really happened.
I think they discovered they were all dead or some fucking shit where just totally killed it. Like kind of like Dallas. I don't know. Well, you wouldn't know Dallas. That's before your time. But Dallas was a long-running American TV series, and in the end, the protagonist kind of wakes up from a dream, and it was all a dream. The whole fucking series was a dream.
The sequence, the dream.
Yeah. That kind of shit. So I can smell that bullshit coming from a mile away in a series, and it's just at some point I just drop off. Like, okay, I don't need this kind of disappointment in my life. Let's keep it on a high and stop.
That's what I wondered when I watched Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Like people were like, I was like, what? 5 seasons? That's it? People are like, yeah, because it gets bad after that. Like they understood you should stop it. So now they're talking about Better Call Saul going into season 6, which should be the end. Yes,
I think that'll be that. Have you seen Camino? The movie, the Breaking Bad movie? Yeah. It wasn't bad. Obviously not as good, but yeah, it was decent. Right. But yes, there we are on the time, man. Keep your eyes. I just ordered some food, so.
And we're also getting into movies and shows.
Yes.
Which means we were running out of time.
It's a good thing we discussed the election as long as we did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had this full episode for our listeners and viewers.
So, of course, thanks everyone for joining us today. If anyone wants to support the show beyond just subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment, sharing it with a friend that you think will enjoy it, do check us out. Check out our links where you could check out. I said check out like way too many times. Tactical Soap. Use the coupon code 10KRUM for 10% off. A little bit.
Wash your balls, guys. Wash your balls.
Yes. Check out Subscribestar to support the show on a monthly basis, where you can check us out. Check us out, guys. Subscriber.com/shitlord-preachers, where you can pledge monthly with perks to help support the show. Anything?
Even $1 a month, guys. Come on, man. You spend more than that on coffee.
Just $1. Yeah, not even. Like, if you spend $1 on coffee a month, holy crap, what are you getting? Like,
well, that's what I said. You spend more on coffee, $1 a month, guys.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say that's some really fucked up fair trade shit. So of course, we will of course be on next week, same time. Now we're going on Saturdays.
Saturdays at 5
Central Time.
5 p.m. GMT.
BS time.
No, that would be British summertime, BST, but this is GMT. Greenwich Mean Time, bitches.
Where all time begins.
Yeah, exactly. We started this shit.
So
you wouldn't have time if it weren't for us.
So thanks everyone for joining us. Of course, we will see everyone next week.
Thanks for watching, guys.